Today's flashback movie is the gripping crime thriller The Fugitive from 1993. And we're going to look a little at the background of the movie, what it's about, and who the stars were, as well as work they have done before and after the movie. As usual, if you like what you see, please consider giving it a thumbs up, because it really helps me. And if you want to see more, then you could even subscribe to the channel. That would be great if you could. The Fugitive was released in August 1993 by Warner Brothers, with a running time of just over 2 hours. It was nominated for a total of 7 Oscars, with Tommy Lee Jones walking away with the Oscar for Best Actor in a Supporting Role. The story was written by Jeb Stewart and David Twohy, with the characters created by Roy Huggins. The movie itself was directed by Andrew Davis. Filming was done in North Carolina with a budget of $44 million, with the worldwide gross seeing an amazing return of nearly $370 million. Wrongfully accused of murdering his wife, Richard Kimble escapes from the law in an attempt to find her killer and clear his name. Pursuing him is a team of US Marshals led by Deputy Samuel Gerard, a determined detective who will not rest until Richard is captured. As Richard leads the team through a series of intricate chases, he discovers the secrets behind his wife's death and struggles to expose the killer before it's too late. I found The Fugitive to be an intelligent action thriller, thanks to its writing and execution. The fact that it still holds up well in today's times, when this theme has been recycled and reused countless times, is definite proof of that. The movie has a very clear and focused plot, and chooses to stay away from focusing heavily on backstories or any subplots. Sure, some of the twists might seem a little dated now, but the writing's still strong, and you end up appreciating the movie even more.
That I crushed her skull, and that I shot her.
The star of the show, of course, is Harrison Ford, who portrays the wrongfully accused Dr. Richard Kimble, who must escape his conviction and prove the identity of the real murderer. Harrison was not immediately cast for the lead role, and in fact a number of well-known actors, including Alec Baldwin, Nick Nolte, Kevin Costner and Michael Douglas, were initially auditioned for it. Ford was born in Chicago, Illinois back in 1942, but now lives on a sprawling ranch in Jackson, Wyoming, with his third wife, Callista Flockhart. Best known for his roles as Indiana Jones and as Han Solo in Star Wars, Ford was discovered by George Lucas while working as a $150 a week jobbing actor and carpenter, going on to appear in 1973's American Graffiti as a result. Since then he's amassed a personal fortune of around $300 million, and if I had made that much money by his age, I would definitely think about retiring. But hey, when your hobby is collecting and flying aircraft, it might be that you need all the money you can get your hands on. Tommy Lee Jones was born in San Saba, Texas in 1946 and played the man charged with hunting down the good doctor, Deputy US Marshal Samuel Gerard. After graduating from Harvard with a BA in English Literature in 1969, Jones moved to New York, and the following year made his movie debut in Love Story. Having won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor with this movie, Jones has appeared in more movies than you can shake a stick at, including such blockbusters as Batman Forever, JFK, Lincoln, and No Country for Old Men. However, I can never look at him without seeing Agent K from Men in Black. Jones doesn't really do TV work, but he did appear as Dr. Mark Tolland in One Life to Live at the beginning of his career, and in the late 80s played Woodrow F. Call in a few episodes of the miniseries Lonesome Dove. However, having said all that, Jones has been a spokesman for Japanese brewing company Suntory since 2006, and if you search YouTube, you will find that he's made a number of Japanese TV commercials for Suntory's coffee brand Boss. Jones currently resides in San Antonio, Texas, and he also owns a couple of ranches in the state where he lives, with his third wife, Dawn Laurel. He has 2 children from his second marriage, and as an avid polo player, he also owns a house in a polo country club in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Sela Ann Ward was born in Meridian, Mississippi in 1956, and played the part of a doctor's unfortunate wife, Helen Kimble. After graduating in 1977, Sela initially moved to New York to work for an advertising agency. But following a friend's advice, she tried modelling, and hence began a very successful career, starting with Pepsi and going on to make her first commercial with Maybelline. After appearing in 20 national television commercials, Sela moved to Los Angeles and got her first television role in Emerald Point NAS in 1983, and her movie break came the same year when she appeared with Burt Reynolds in The Man Who Loved Women. Other movies she has appeared in include The Stepfather, Gone Girl, and Independence Day Resurrection, but Sela is perhaps best known for starring as Teddy Reed in the television series Sisters, which ran for 6 seasons starting in 1991. More recently, she's been a regular as Jo Danville on CSI New York, Margaret Graves on Graves, and followed those up by starring as Dana Mosier on FBI. Sela still lives in Meridian, Mississippi, with her venture capitalist husband Howard Sherman, whom she married in 1992, and they have 2 children together. Character actor Joseph Peter Pandoliano was born in Hoboken, New Jersey in 1951, and played the role of Gerard's second-in-command in the investigation, Deputy US Marshal Cosmo Renfro. Pandoliano made his movie debut as Guido, the killer pimp in Risky Business with Tom Cruise, before going on to play the villainous Francis Fratelli in the teen classic The Goonies. In the late 90s, he gained fame amongst a new generation with movies such as Midnight Run, Daredevil, Memento, and a sci-fi in the landmark sci-fi movie The Matrix. Pandoliano has also appeared in the Bad Boys movie and both of its sequels. On the small screen, he is well known as Ralph Cifaretto in HBO's The Sopranos, a role for which he won a Primetime Emmy. He has also appeared as Joe Renato in The Handler around the same time, but more recently has appeared in MacGyver and Sense8 as Michael Gorski. Pandoliano currently lives in Wilton, Connecticut with his second wife, makeup artist Nancy Shepard, whom he married in 1994. Born to a working-class Greek-American family in St. Louis, Missouri in 1946, Andreas, or Andrew, Katsoulas played the part of former police officer Frederick Sykes, one of the amputees on Kimble's list of suspects, who turns out to be his wife's murderer. One of Katsoulas' first acting appearances was back in the early 80s as Luvian Goff on the CBS soap opera Guiding Light. On the movie front, he has appeared in the likes of The Sicilian, Next of Kin, Someone to Watch Over Me, and Hot Shots Part 2. On the small screen, Katsoulas is known as a regular on Babylon 5, playing Ambassador Gakar, and he also appeared in Star Trek The Next Generation as the Romulan commander Tomalak. A lifelong smoker, Katsoulas died of lung cancer in 2006 at the age of 59. Dutch actor and movie director Roon Krabbe was born in Amsterdam in 1944 and played Kimble's friend and colleague Dr. Charles Nichols, who gives him money to help him evade capture. Internationally, he first came to prominence in Soldier of Orange opposite Rutger Hauer, but his first big Hollywood movie was the Whoopi Goldberg comedy Jumping Jack Flash. Other movies that he is known for include The Punisher, The Living Daylights, and The Prince of Tides. Krabbe's television work has included playing an uncanny psychic in The Midsummer Murders, but more recently he seems to have returned to doing more work in his homeland of the Netherlands. Krabbe, who speaks 4 languages, Dutch, English, German and French, has been married to Herma van Giemert since 1964, and they have 3 children together. Daniel James Roebuck was born in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania in 1963 and played one of Gerard's colleagues, Deputy US Marshal Bobby Biggs. Having made his feature movie debut starring in the teen comedy Cave Girl, Roebuck established himself as one of the industry's youngest character actors, with his haunting portrayal as the teenage killer Samson in The River's Edge. Roebuck has appeared in numerous Rob Zombie and Don Coscarelli movies, but is perhaps best known for such as the Fugitive sequel US Marshals, We Were Soldiers, and Getting Grace. On the small screen, he is well known for playing Dr. Ars in the television drama Lost, and as Dave Karofsky's father in the TV series Glee. More recently, he has played the father of the lead character Arnold Walker in The Man in the High Castle, and Norman Peterson in 911, as well as being involved in a raft of upcoming work. Roebuck has been married 3 times, and tied the knot with current wife, producer and editor Tammy Roebuck in 2015. Thomas Mills Wood was born in Long Beach, California in 1963, and portrayed the often teased new guy, Deputy US Marshal Noah Newman. Woods began appearing in television shows in the late 80s, and has appeared in movies such as Apollo 13, Under Siege and Avalon. He won the part in The Fugitive as the second actor cast after working with director Andrew Davis and Warner Brothers in Under Siege. He has also appeared in the spin-off movie US Marshals. Woods hasn't worked as an actor since 2000, with one of his last appearances being on Chicago Hope. Since then he has turned his hand to music, and performing as Governor Tom, he has recently released 2 singles entitled A Man with a Hat and Living Wild. Born in Chicago, Illinois in 1950, L. Scott Caldwell now lives in New York and played investigation team member Deputy US Marshal Erin Poole. The L stands for Laverne, by the way, which is what we're going to call her. Having initially planned on a teaching career, Laverne began acting in the early 80s, and throughout the 80s and 90s she relied on small supporting roles in numerous popular TV shows. However, she was hit by a car in 1984 and didn't work for almost 2 years because of a serious back injury. Playing Erin Poole has perhaps been her best known role in movies, but she has also appeared in The Net and Dragonfly. On the small screen, Laverne is best known for playing Rose in the TV show Lost. Back in her early 20s, Laverne married John Caldwell and had a son, but they divorced again in the early 1980s. In 2004, she married Dassel McLean Banks, and they were together until his death in 2005. Johnny Lee Davenport was born in 1950 in Shreveport, Louisiana, and grew up in Aurora, Illinois. He played the part of Deputy US Marshal Henry. Davenport began his career in the late 80s as a predominantly Shakespearean theatre actor, and he continued this into the 1990s, most frequently in venues around Chicago. His first movie performance was in 1989, and he was another actor to reprise his fugitive role in the sequel US Marshals. Additionally, he has appeared in Chain Reaction and Ted with Mark Wahlberg. Davenport has also appeared on television shows such as Law & Order and Empire, with his latest being as Harold in Work in Progress. Sadly, Davenport passed away in Boston, suffering from leukemia in 2020 at the age of 69. Hollywood megastar Julianne Moore was born Julie Ann Smith in Fort Bragg, North Carolina in 1960, and played the role of the surgeon at the County Cook Hospital, Dr. Ann Eastman, who becomes suspicious of Kimble. Due to her father's military career, Julianne lived in a whole host of countries when she was growing up. Having begun her career with a series of television roles between 1985 and 1988, during which time she was a regular as Franny Hughes in the soap opera As the World Turns, her big screen debut came with 1990's Tales from the Dark Side, where she played the victim of a mummy. Over the next few years, she continued with supporting roles, including in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Starring roles in the blockbusters 9 Months and The Lost World Jurassic Park finally established her as a Hollywood leading lady. Since then, she has gone on to star in the likes of Boogie Nights, The Big Lebowski, Magnolia, Hannibal, and The Kids Are Alright. On the small screen, we have seen her star as Nancy Donovan in the long-running TV series 30 Rock, and more recently as Lizzie Landon in the TV miniseries Lizzie's Story. Currently living in Greenwich Village, New York, Julianne was previously married to actor and director John Gould Rubin from 1986 to 1995. However, she is now married to director and producer Bart Freundlich. Journeyman actor Ron Dean was born in Chicago, Illinois in 1938 and played the part of Detective Kelly, who initially arrested Kimble. Having begun his career back in the mid-70s, Dean is one of those actors that you instantly recognise from so many movies, but you have never really known his name. When I tell you that his list of acting credits includes such blockbusters as Risky Business, The Breakfast Club, The Colour of Money, Cocktail, and The Dark Knight, you'll see what I mean. He's the same on the small screen, with T.J. Hooker, The West Wing, and Chicago Fire. As you can tell, Dean is a multi-talented actor, and his tough guy demeanour has meant that he's often been cast as anything from mean villains to hard, authoritative individuals, such as cops and military officials. He was married to Marilyn Sue Brains until her death in 2006. Actress, comedian and author Jane Marie Lynch was born in Evergreen Park, Illinois in 1960 and played Kimble's friend and colleague Dr. Kathy Wayland. Having started her career in the late 80s, Jane is better known these days for her comedy work, but up until the mid-2000s she appeared in a wide variety of supporting roles on both the big and the small screen. Since then she has appeared in the likes of The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Paul and The Three Stooges. She has also voiced characters in such hit movies as Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, Shrek Forever After, and Wreck-It Ralph. And in 2013 she received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Jane's best known television roles are as the aggressive cheerleading coach Sue Sylvester in Glee, Joyce in The L Word, and Dr. Linda Freeman on 2.5 Men. More recently she has played Diana Reed in Criminal Minds. Jane married clinical psychologist Lara Embry in Sunderland, Massachusetts in 2010, but they were divorced again in 2014. Character actor Nicholas Allen Cersei was born in North Carolina in 1959 and played the arrogant and incompetent Sheriff Rawlins, who clashes with Gerard over the running of the investigation. Having spent time in New York performing in plays, Cersei returned to North Carolina in 1989 and had small parts on Days of Thunder and The Prince of Tides, before winning the role of the malicious Frank in Fried Green Tomatoes. Since then he's appeared in movies such as Castaway with Tom Hanks, The Assassination of Richard Nixon, and The Shape of Water in 2017. Cersei has played a number of characters in TV shows, starting with Brett in Thunder Alley back in the mid-90s. But since then he's played Nathan Ramsey in 7 Days, and perhaps most famously Art Mullen in Justified. Most recently he's been playing Frank Mays in The Hot Zone, and Sheriff Thompson in Manhunt, Unabomber. Cersei currently resides in Southern California with his wife, actress Leslie Riley, whom he married in 1986.